G'day mates, my name's Mike, welcome back to another one. We're going to review the NRL Round 9. Heck of a good round again. We had upsets, injuries, bad weather, suspensions, and of course the Warriors lost again. Lots to get through. Let's get straight into it. The first game on Thursday night was the Rabbitohs versus Panthers. Panthers winning comfortably 12-42. 13 plus. I had the Panthers to win that. I think most people did. Nathan Cleary was a late withdrawal. All that Panthers have said is it's just precautionary after his hamstring injury. And for the Rabbitohs, Jason Demetrio ended up losing his job, which was reasonably predictable as well, which means assistant Ben Hornby is now the interim head coach for the Rabbitohs, and then there's lots of talk about Wayne Bennett getting the job next year. A few changes to the run-on team for the Rabbitohs, which was to be expected. New coaches come in and do like to change things around, put things the way maybe they should have been. Anyway, it was Damien Cook's 200th NRL game, and the Rabbitohs had a great start, scoring the first two tries. They scored two tries after Isaac Tago was sin-binned in the 6th minute. It's likely he'll see some time off the field. Jai Arrow was then sin-binned for the Rabbitohs in the 18th minute, and the Panthers scored twice while he was off, and then after that it was all Panthers. They scored another 5 tries on top of that to finish the game 12-42. Luke Garner scoring twice, and the Panthers are just absolutely ruthless. I know the Rabbitohs are struggling, but the Rabbitohs had a good start to the game. They had a lot to play for, but that didn't matter. The Panthers just rolled them. Then in the first game on Friday night, Seagulls versus the Raiders. Raiders winning 26-24. I think most people tipped the Seagulls to win that one over the Seagulls 13 plus. The Raiders, had quite a young spine at the moment, but absolutely unbelievable game really. Weather was unacceptable, but it was just absolutely appalling. But did clear in the second half. The Seagulls scored the first 4 tries, and the fourth try came after Albert Hopewadi had to go to the bin in the 25th minute. So the score was 20-0, and it was not looking good for the Raiders. What that also meant was that the Raiders had not scored a point and had 60 points scored against them over the last 2 games without scoring any points. Raiders managed to score before the break, and that was while Hopewadi was in the bin as well, through KO Weeks, the try assist Elliot Whitehead. Garrick scored for Seagulls' first try in the second half, so still wasn't looking good for the Raiders at that point. They were still 20-odd points behind, and then the Raiders started their massive comeback. So they scored 4 tries and managed to hold on to a slim 2-point lead. DC did have a chance to level the scores. He missed his drop goal, and Elliot Whitehead scored 2 tries and had a try assist, making a huge impact coming back from injury, and really was the key difference in the game, to be fair. Raiders halves both stepped up though, and they KO Weeks kicked goals. They both set up tries through kicks and directed play really well. Huge confidence boost for those young men, and this one meant a lot to the Raiders. Massive upset. You could see Sticky Stewart in the box just banging on the glass. They were all pumped about this one. That means Raiders are 5 wins from 9. Seagulls also 5 from 9, but the Seagulls had the draw with the Warriors. The second game on Friday night, Broncos versus Roosters. Broncos getting pumped by the Roosters 18-40 up in Suncorp. I had Broncos 1-12. I thought it was going to be a close game. It wasn't in the end. Another result that was reasonably unexpected. I think everybody felt the Roosters were a chance, but not to win in that fashion. But the Broncos coming off a good win against the Tigers. Roosters, of course, a huge win against the Dragons. The Broncos were strengthened with the returns of Mam and Cobbo, but the Roosters were without Jared Hargraves and Daniel Tupou leading up to the game. So I think we were leaning more towards the Broncos, because of that as well. The game was very close for the first 27 minutes. They both teams scoring a try. Broncos through Jordan Ricky and Roosters through Joey Manu, but the Roosters managed to get some momentum their way, and Angus Crichton scored 2 tries for the Roosters to lead at half time. Jesse Arthurs went off in the first half with a broken jaw. he'll be out for quite a while. The biggest talking point of the game really was Adam Reynolds injuring his bicep. He knew straight away. He knew obviously it hurt, but it was a lot more than a stinger, and he knew the muscle was off the bone, I guess, at that point. So he called straight out to the sideline, and he was off. But anyway, the Broncos, they managed to find a way to score 2 tries without Adam Reynolds to level the scores, and then Dean Mariner goes to the bin after shoulder charge on Tedesco. And the Broncos weren't able to keep up from there, really. That was kind of a pivotal moment. Roosters scored not long after the sin binning, and that was through Terrell May, and then the Roosters scored another 3 tries to finish with a healthy scoreline. Sam Walker missed his first kick goal in 17 attempts, so he got 16 in a row. Huge result for the Roosters, really. Attack looking its best with Connor Watson, I'd say. Obviously, he just adds a little bit more on attack. Sam Walker is back and in form. The Hectic Cheese is finding some form. And Teddy's back to his best. He had 2 try assists, 2 line breaks, 9 tackle busts. Definitely a much better form than last year. Angus Crichton playing with the class that we know he has. He was absolutely awesome as well. And it's good to see him back, I must admit. He is a proper representative, player for his state and for the country. So hopefully we see him back in blue. Trent Robinson will be pleased, that things have been able to turn around since last year. A lot of coaches can't do it. Jason Demetrio couldn't, of course. Broncos will have to play without Adam Reynolds for a while, which changes things significantly for them. But look, they do have quite a bit. They're a class team. They've got quite a bit of depth. So and they've played a fair amount of games without him in recent years. So over the last couple of seasons. So we'll have to wait and see how they handle that without him. Bulldogs versus Tigers. Bulldogs winning 24-14. I had the Bulldogs 1-12. It was my only other tip in terms of margin this week. Last year, if you were to come across this game, you'd avoid it like the plague. Give it a bit of a wide berth there, but both teams have been playing a lot better, and this was a pretty good game, pretty close for the most part. Coruscant, he pulled out of the game. He pulled out before kickoff because of a sore back, and Preston was back for his first game after his jaw injury. He was on the bench, and Blake Taaffe started at fullback because Connor Tracy wasn't able to play. Tigers dominated the start of the game, and they took a penalty to get some points out of their dominance, and then they scored a try through Charlie Staines shortly after that penalty to lead by 8 points. Kurt Mann scored in response, and Whenua Pole scored for the Tigers to score, and the score at that time was 6-14. Not much happened in the 10 minutes before half time, so the score stayed that way. 6-14 at halftime, complete turnaround in the second half. In terms of the Bulldogs anyway, Bulldogs scoring 16 unanswered points, including 2 penalty kicks to Matt Burton. Matt Burton stepping up, really controlling the game. He's playing a lot better this year, and lots of pressure on the Tigers halves, with Caesar making a couple of errors, and Lachlan Galvin got driven back in tackles a few times. And I think we'll see Aiden Caesar suspended for a little while. But yeah, young Lachlan Galvin definitely put a lot of effort in, was trying right through the whole game. He looks like the real deal. Tigers will want to forget that second half. It was not good for them. They were frustrated, and right at the end got 2 yellow cards. I think 2 separate incidents. Clemmer got sent off, I think, upsetting the referee, and then Seyfarth got in trouble for headbutting or scrapping with Reed Marnie or a couple of the guys. But there might be a little bit more that comes out of that. So anyway, but Reed Marnie can't stay out of it, and he's certainly really good at winding people up. Titans versus Storm. This first Saturday game, Titans losing 20-22. They were at home, Munster's 200th game. I had Storm 13 plus, but boy, this Titans team have really turned things around this year. Des Hasler is doing a wonderful job. They were really quite, I would say, unlucky to miss out on this one, but I think it also shows how close the competition is this year when you've got one of the bottom teams competing with one of the top teams and just missing out and having a chance to actually win that game. Craig Bellamy, hopefully his tick is okay. I mean, the Storm, all of their games have been pretty close, or certainly a lot of them, but they quite often find themselves in a situation where they just hanging on to win or winning at the last minute. But to be fair to them, they know how to do it. Hopefully his cholesterol's low. So anyway, I think we're seeing the Titans benefiting from Des Hasler, certainly working well for Kieran Foran in particular. Obviously, they've worked together before at the Seagulls. Kieran Foran scored the first try, but the Storm responded pretty quick and dominated with score, and sort of then Storm dominated for that next period, scoring 4 tries in a 15-minute blitz, looking unstoppable. But this Titans team is playing with a lot of confidence and managed to score a game before the break, just to get a bit more confidence after coming back after halftime. Quite a hectic into the half, with Titans applying more pressure and also a knock to Pappenhausen's previously injured ankle. He didn't return, so that was at the end of the first half, and at halftime it was 12-20 in favour of the Storm. Obviously got the upper hand. The Storm lost a lot of their structure and mojo and couldn't really find much momentum in the second half. It was very disjointed. Tyrone Wishart went to fullback, and Fa'alongu, young kid Fa'alongu, spent some time off the field also, I think, through HIA, but that meant the lineup had to change around quite a bit. I think Chan spent some time at centre. Anyway, Tigers scored a try. AJ Brimson scoring a try and Brian Kelly kicking the conversion and a penalty to level the scores in the 55th minute. Brian Kelly kicking goals because Tanner Boyd went off in the 8th minute with an arm injury, I believe. We'll have to see. I haven't checked the casualty ward about how long he's going to be out, but you can tell that the Titans, noticed he was gone. But boy, they just the highlights and how good the effort was for the Titans to get themselves back in the game. Last 25 minutes was very exciting, and even though the only score being a penalty to the Storm, which was the difference in the end. Both teams had opportunities to score, and the Titans threw everything at it, but the Storm know how to close games out. No easy games this year. Munster played well. Of course, being his 200th, Brimson loving his opportunity at fullback. David Fifita got through a ton of work. He started the game for a change, and the Storm now 5 in a row. Huge, great game. It was, I think, what are we talking about? The Saturday was the day of upset, so that was a bit of an upset. And then Cowboys versus Dolphins up in Townsville was 26-28 to the Dolphins winning that one. I had the Cowboys 1-12. The Dolphins, huge effort from them. Big loss for the Cowboys with Chad Townsend out just in the lead up to the game, but Jake Clifford came in for him, and how good is it having a player with NRL experience come in for as a replacement. Cowboys had the best possible start, even making a break on the third tackle of the game, and they scored 2 tries in the first 10 minutes to make it 10-0, but the first half was a bit of a back and forth affair after that. Dolphins, after the first 2 tries to the Cowboys, Dolphins scored 2 tries, Cowboys scored 1, Dolphins scored 1, Cowboys scored another to finish a relatively even half at 22-18. Jermaine Osako scoring 2 tries. Dolphins dominated the majority of the second half, managing 2 tries by the 70th minute, one being the third try to Jermaine Osako, and the other 2 Jake Averillo, who doesn't have a contract next year but playing really well, to take the lead 28-22. So that was a lead to the Dolphins at that point. Cowboys were 6 behind, had 10 minutes to score, which they did through Jerome Nene, scoring in the 78th minute. The conversion would have levelled the game, the score, but Valentine Holmes missed, which was quite a quick kickable goal. Cowboys still had a chance to score because there was time for a kickoff, and best chance was a field goal. I think they had to pass it two passes back to get behind the 40 metre line, and Drinkwater had a crack but missed. And that was it. Game went right down to the wire. Great result for the Dolphins with their injury list. They have quite a few men out with the likes of Kenny Bromwich, Flegler, Tabuai Fido, to say the least. Dolphins stay in the top 4. Cowboys drop out of the top 8. That's how close things are. And then Knights versus Warriors on Sunday. I think it's the first game on the Sunday. Bit of an upset. The Warriors, the score 14-8 to the Knights. I would say it's an upset, but reasonably close game in terms of what you would have picked. But the Warriors are officially in a crisis. Lost 3 in a row, and of course they haven't won for 4 because the 4 games ago they drew against the Seagulls. Anyway, and the Warriors have got the Roosters and Panthers to come. So, they've got the Roosters away this week. The Warriors were really out of sorts, certainly at the start of the game. The Tohu Harris giving away a pretty penalty, uncharacteristic penalty in the first half, and he dropped the ball as well. But yeah, on a weekend of bad weather, Charles Nickel-Clockstead dropped the ball twice in that first half. One led to a try. Dylan Walker, after getting up gingerly not long before, managed to finally convert some good field position for the Warriors into points, and he scored under the post. Kirk Capewell went off injured, looked like a knee or calf, actually, I heard, injury. We'll see how long, or if that's a week or more. If he's out at all. And then Wade Egan, I think he copped a knock to the head, but he managed to play on. I don't know if there was an HIA, what happened there. But to be fair, Wade Egan has had issues with HIA before, so I don't know. It didn't sit well with me. Charles Nickel-Clockstead totally redeemed himself after those errors and saved a certain try, stopping Dane Gagai as he was diving across the line. Dylan Watini Zelezniak almost scored one of the best wet weather tries you'll see, taking a high kick just over the line there. But he was tackled in the air. The part that I really struggle with this one, and there has been a bit of talk about it, but if he didn't, it was a penalty because he was tackled in the air. But if he didn't get tackled in the air, if that tackle didn't happen, he would have scored that try. So why wasn't it a penalty try? So that was pretty contentious. But anyway, the score was 8-6 at halftime, reasonably predictable considering the conditions. Second half, the Warriors were very close to scoring 2 tries. They just missed out. Warriors got a penalty, so took the points to level the scores. I think that was around the time the weather really picked up a notch and the wind was just howling in favour of the Knights, just to point out. But the Warriors really, I felt like they had plenty of time in the Knights half, plenty of time on attack. But anyway, Knights managed to then break the deadlock through a try to Daniel Saifidi, and Daniel Saifidi broke a tackle close to the line and post to make the conversion easier. It was 14-8 at that point with just over 15 minutes to go. And to cut a long story short, but anyway, that's how the score ended, of course. It was an exciting rest of the game, I must admit. Warriors threw everything at it and had plenty of opportunities, penalties and turnovers, but the Knights were great at keeping, they just kept turning up to hold on to win. Yeah, I mean, there was some contentious calls. I think there was a try that disallowed that probably shouldn't have been. There should have been a penalty try. Look, you can pick holes in all sorts of things. The reality is the Warriors did have their opportunities, and in wet weather rugby, it could go either way. I don't think they should, feel too hard done by. I know they've lost 3 in a row, 2 of them being very close. But, losing to the Dragons, that was a proper thumping and a bit of a wake-up call, but they were within 1 score in the last 2 games. Of course, they should win those, and last year they probably did. They can turn it around. Part of the problem with the Warriors, as I see it, is that they're losing the mind game at the moment. You can tell they're quite frustrated. I think they should take a lot of confidence in getting back into that game after they really were quite flustered in the first half. And if you Charles Nickel-Clockstead, like I said, error that he wouldn't normally make was a try, and that could have, there were so many little key moments that it could have been the difference. Bounce of the ball in those conditions can go either way. But anyway, hats off to the Knights. They were wrapped with that result, and they should be. They continue to perform well without Kalen Ponga. The Sharks versus Dragons was the last game on Sunday, last game of the round. Sharks winning 20-10. They were at home. Sharks 13+. It was close to that, but Dragons definitely performing a lot better this year, to say the least. Another wet game, of course. It was just south of the Newcastle game. Sharks, at home. Shane Flanagan returning to the Sharks' home ground, playing against his old team. That was just something to talk about. Braden Trindle out again. He missed this week, but sounds like he's been caught drink driving, so he could be out for quite a while. I think may throw the book at him. But anyway, we'll see. No significant changes to either side. The Dragons just mixing up the forward rotation before kickoff. Sharks get some early field possession, and Oregon Kaufusi scored the first try close to the post. Dragons are well in the contest and make it very close first half. In those conditions, it's pretty difficult, obviously, to score tries out wide, but the Dragons managed to do it twice through to Ravalawa going over in the corner in the 27th and 40th minutes, or right before half time there. I would say that Mulatalo misread those two attacks. He looked a bit lost. He should have just stayed on his man, I would suggest. But anyway, the score was 16 going to the Dragons, leading at halftime. Second half, the Sharks managed to take control of the game. They really turned things around, but basically dominated every area and handled the conditions best. You can tell, I think... Nico Hines has sort of stepped up a level in terms of, obviously, he's getting better at game managing, but he is more competitive now. I think he's stepped up to be some of our best players in recent years. Cameron Smith, Jonathan Thurston, Darren Lockyer, Nathan Cleary. They all fit in that category, but their determination to win is just extreme. So I think Nico Hines is lifting himself into that category. But anyway, they certainly took control of the second half, but they scored 2 tries for middle forwards. Talakai and try-scoring prop Thomas Hazelton. Talakai, I'm enjoying him being in that forward rotation in the middle. Ero is playing pretty well in centre, so I think they've got to keep trying to keep him out there. He's an absolute machine, and I think he made more meters than most of the players out there. Certainly into the second half, he was leading. But anyway, both tries were converted by Hines, and Hines also picked up a penalty to make sure of the game. That was a bit later on. But Dragons playing really well. The Sharks team continue to perform into the team to beat. There's probably them and the Panthers. Obviously, the Broncos lost, and the Roosters. They're the top teams, I think, at the moment. And it'll be good to see them up against the Storm next week. Well, of course, the Storm, they're right up in the mix, aren't they? So, Sharks versus Storm next week. Let's have a quick look at the table. Sharks is still on top, of course, although the Storm on the same amount of points, 16 each. Like I said, Storm 5 in a row. Panthers... third, Dolphins 4th, Seagulls 5th. I don't know, Seagulls, I felt like they'd been doing worse than that. But anyway, so Seagulls 5th, good on them. They are a good team, and that's probably where they should be. Roosters 6th, Broncos 7th, Bulldogs 8th. They're in the top 8 at the moment. Raiders 9th, Cowboys 10th. Knights 11th, Eels 12th, Dragons 13th, Warriors 14th, Tigers 15th, Titans 16th, Rabbitohs battling away at 17th. I feel like the Cowboys, we'll see what happens with the Eels when Moses comes back, but the Cowboys probably deserve to be a top 8 team. I'd like to say the Warriors too, but that's... optimistic at the moment. They've got to turn things around. So that means if you've got 2 teams that should be in the top 8 that aren't, a couple would need to drop out. I don't know, Bulldogs maybe, but I just wanted to point out it's a heck of a close competition this year. If you have listened to this, thank you so much. I'll put another video out in the lead up to the next round. I'll try and put a video out in rugby as well. But until then, thanks.